I'm going to start with trying to get this 10 mil to fit in this case, and also port the top of the case for a 10 mil cub. It's a 465 build. A lot of grinding to do. Okay, I've got everything drawn up here. Start cutting. Basically, the top case I port to match the bottom of the cub, and I use the base gasket as a template. And what that does is that just pulls the transfer updrafts out to match the underside of the cub. A little extra volume. And this will be trenched to clear the rods on the bottom of the crank here. The web fits in, the bottom end of the rod knocks, and that's what we're clearing for. Nice true and welded crank, Toyo bearings, real Japanese Toyos, good solid crank. So I got all the trenching done for this 10 mil. Again, we're trying to get it to clear the rod, the pin that's offset to make it a 10 mil. It's trenched and ported. Top case is ported to fit that cub. It's going to be a 10 mil cub, 465. 64 millimeter stroke, 115 rod on a 68 bore. That way, this fits right in real nice like now. And everything clears. It's time to go get that cub and start porting it drag style onto the cub. Okay, I'm getting ready to port the 10 mil cub that's going to go on top of those cases. So this is what it looks like before I port. I have the lines all drawn in already. As you can see, I just started before I went, oh, let me put that on video so the people can see what I do and how I do. Okay, time to grind. Okay, it's time to start the Banshee barn project. Straight out of the barn. cobwebs and all stock, down to the tours and pipes and everything. We're going to see if it starts. It does have fuel in it. Try pulling that choke out. We haven't checked anything. We haven't checked compression. It had no gas. We put gas in it, so we know it's got gas. It's got the key on, handlebar on. Does the key tumbler switch work? No. It should go left and right. Left is... There you go. Oh! Thought I heard it. Nope, don't give it any fuel. Kick it a few times, don't give it any fuel. Thought I heard it spark. Oh. It wants to. Come on. Now when you... There we go. Oh, she lives. Listen to that mighty Banshee rumble. Oh, what'd you do? You killed it. Come on, give that sucker some gas now. There she goes. Oh, she's happy. Give her a little fuel. There you go. There you go. I'm guessing this is on its stock piston, stock bore, stock everything. Turn the choke off and rev it a few times. Oh yeah, look at it. Hold it about 2,000 RPM. Give it. It's like this cylinder died over here. Pull the choke one clip out and give it gas. There it goes. There it goes. See that? That one only firing with the choke on. Turn the choke off and give it some revs. Only does one. Do the choke one notch again. That cylinder only fires when it's choked. It probably needs a little roll around. Fuel, lots of fuel. There you go. You have to keep on the throttle, keep it going.
Yeah, but and then it'll like open up really wide by itself all of a sudden.
Yeah, it just gets on the pipe.
Like if I'm just giving it static throttle, it'll be like just going and then it'll be
Okay, let's get this thing torn down and fixed up. All right. The first thing you got to do with all stock Banshees, if they're all stock, is eliminate everything with that TORS, the throttle override system, which is connected through the thumb throttle here we just go, yeah, we don't want this. The parking brake here, which won't let it rev past 1,000 RPM or something like that. We don't like that either. And then we come down here. I'll get this out of the way. We're California here, sand dunes and desert. So we're going to get rid of this whole air box here and just put pod filters on. This is the original Taurus throttle override system from Yamaha. We don't like this shit either, so we're going to just cut that and cut that. And yeah, you can unplug them too, but I'm just doing it for video, showing that you don't need any of this stuff. Now, the bike won't run with all that uncut, but over here is the black box. That's the brain of the throttle override system. You can just unplug it, but again, for video's sake, I'm just gonna cut it. And now the bike will run again, but it won't have all this separate stuff to troubleshoot if it doesn't want to run, which can fail, and which we don't need when we're hot rodding. So that's the very first thing you do. Snip all those things and throw them in the trash. I suggest getting normal caps and a throttle cable here. You can get Taurus deletion kits off eBay for like 60 or 70 bucks and convert these. The next thing you do is you get rid of these crappy stock pipes and put some good pipes on it. Now, we're gonna put shears on this because we know what level we're taking this to. So you can't put shears on a non-ported bike. I mean, you can, but it's gonna run like poop. You know, stick with FMFs or the Toomeys, DMCs, Paul Turners. Any of those pipes will work on a non-ported Banshee. Stuff like RDZ, shear, snipers, those are a bigger volume pipe. They're still called small bores is what you want when you port them. But you don't want to stick it on a non-ported motor. All right, we're gonna get started and rip these pipes off. So I want you to see that I snipped all these wires, and you can do this on a stock bike. Snipped them all. Snip the brain wire, snip the Tor wires, and the bike will still run. So I just want to let you know that you can cut all those wires. Those have nothing to do with the way the bike runs. That's an override system. It's a safety feature. Get rid of it. These stock pipes are completely worthless. Always pull them off. It's the first thing you should do after cutting all the Taurs off. And throw them right in the trash. Okay, we're continuing with the all-stock Banshee build. We pulled the motor out of the frame, as you can see. She's empty. And stuck it up on here on the bench. We pulled the carbs out already, and those big humpback Taurs are gone. You can see the petcock nipple came out with it. That's not a big deal. You can actually put it back in and put a little silicone, but we'll be going to a pingle valve because we're going to be making some power with this motor. So I removed the nuts and stuff, and we're going to crack it open and see what she looks like inside. See if I can get it off in one piece. Now it was running, so it should look fairly decent. And it does. Pistons are carboned up just from being a little on the rich side, which is a very safe way to run it. If I look down here, crank looks good. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just looking at eyeballing it. But everything looks beautiful. If I flip this over and look at it, that's looking pretty in there too. I don't see any remnants of anything coming apart and dinging the head up, so it looks like it's never been blown up. And let's see if it was on its stock piston. We'll just grab a 64 over here, which is the stock size. This is the original bore. That's an original bore, original cylinder. I don't think this thing's ever been cracked open at all. We pulled the plastic side cover off this side. Look how beautiful that stator is. Do you guys find stators like that anymore? I rarely see a nice stator. That is a flywheel. That is a beautiful flywheel, and I'm sure the stator underneath it's the same. That looks really nice. They're usually all look like boat anchors, and they've been under the sea for 100 years. I'm going to pull this side off real quick. Again, I pulled all the screws out of it, and just to get it on camera. We haven't had it apart, we just got it all ready to be apart and pull it apart on camera. Now, these can be a little sticky because of the O-ring that sits on the end of this water hose. Little rubber mallet, doesn't hurt if you know the gentle force to use. Side cover. Water pump gear looks good and intact. Everything here looks normal. Nothing broken, nothing falling out. All the gears looking good. Primary, water pump. Everything looks beautiful. So we're going to continue to pull this down, and we will film it and get it split so you can see what it looks like on the inside. All right, I'm going to pull this clutch off. See what she looks like. These are all 10s. There's 6 of them. This is the throwout plate. There's a stock clutch. You can tell when you have a stock clutch, they have all these O-rings in them. We toss those away, even if we use the stock clutch again. Once you start putting a little power to it, it chews all those O-rings up and spits them all over the place. So we don't like those a bit. Let's get this. This has got a little locking tab on it. So you have to bend that locking tab back before you can get that big 32mm nut off the basket. Or technically the boss, because it's the inner boss and basket it's holding on. Take a stack the whole clutch off. Let me see what it looks like. See all those O-rings. Just toss all those. We'll be replacing the whole clutch. You can see how it wears. If the clutch has been ridden real hard, it'll be rainbowy. This one looks pretty damn good. A little bit of color in there, but it doesn't look like a rainbow. Inner boss looks good. Washer. Outer basket in good shape. Doesn't look like it has a whole lot of time on it. I'm just checking the cushions in the basket. They always have a little wear. And there's the whole clutch system for you. Since we're pulling this all the way down, we're going to take the primary gear and water pump gear off. Now, some don't come apart this easy. They can be all boogered up. but everything should slide right off. Sometimes we need pullers for this, sometimes for the clutch, but this is in really good shape. Even the shift shaft has no wear. You usually get wear on the spring right there and right there from riding this eccentric, which is adjusts the shift shaft. And there's not even any indentations on this. This is a real low hour bike. I'm going to pull this idler gear off. It's in good shape. They shouldn't have a whole lot of play, but they'll always have a little, and this is a very low hour. We're going to take this off because we're going to cut this transmission because it's going to be putting out some power. And when Banshees put out power, they don't like to shift. So we'll take that little nut, or little washer, de-washer off, the idle gear, and then it has one more little washer there. The only other thing holding this case side together is this piece here. Now this side is ready to be split, but we got to go to the other side and pull this beautiful flywheel off. Okay, I got the flywheel puller on. You have to have one of these to pull this off. They're cheap. You can pick them up on eBay. I actually broke that loose before I turned on the camera because sometimes those can be a bear. You'll need heat. We had to PB blaster this one. I had to load it and then I had to hit it with the mallet. So I load it, and if it doesn't pull off, I give it a little tap, pop, and then it broke loose. Just a little trick. And if that doesn't work, I use heat. Gosh, that is beautiful. I'm really excited. That is one beautiful flywheel. You don't see them like that unless they're brand new. That is a nice one. And look at this. Have you ever seen a nicer stator? Look at that thing. That looks like it's fresh off the factory floor. And you did see the bike this came out of, right? You see that hunk of junk? You never know. I've seen bikes that look like they were ready for the show on the outside and have rusty boat anchors and trash stators on the inside, like they've been underwater half their life. 10mm bolts, those come right off. And then this will pop right out. That's a beauty. Look at that. Oh, okay, we're gonna split the case. Okay, nothing left to do but get the 10mm bolts out of the top and the 12mm off the bottom, and we'll crack it open. This one I didn't pre-stage. I'm really untightening these for the first time. Messy. Put the 12 on for the bottom. I did pre-do the bottom. I got to cheat for time. There's 8 of them. I just left a couple here for reference. They're 12s. And now we're going to crack this open. And I got a special technique I do. Now you got to be careful the way you hit it. I use a rubber mallet. But you don't want to hit it right here. It's a little thin and it'll snap. I hit it on the outsides of these motor mounts. And sometimes you need a pretty good blow. If you do it a couple times and it doesn't seem to want to move, you got to double check that all your nuts and bolts are out. You see that? Those were some pretty hard blows. These things can be stuck pretty good. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Usually doesn't come out that way. It usually lays in the bottom here. And I can't even remember the last time one stuck up top. But there we go. I'm going to set this back just for reference. And I already lost one of the clips. Here it is. And remember, guys, these don't come with two. They're all half moons. So don't think that there's anything missing when you only see half come out with your transmission and your crank. So I'm going to pull the rest of it here if it comes out. Again, these things can get a little stuck because I've been living life there. There's the old stock crank. It seals on both sides. I throw everything in the trash. We're going to reseal this. We're not even going to run this crank. We're going to do a 421 with this one, which is a 54 stroke on a 150. I'm sorry, a 58 stroke on a 115 rod. This is a 54 on a 110 rod. This guy's going to go away, and we're going to get this case ready to accept the 421. We will check all these gears and everything. We're going to cut this for a pro mod because this thing's going to make some power, and the transmission is going to need to be cut to transfer that power and shift the gears. All right, there you go. We're going to clean it up.